The session is now called to order. Everybody is requested to rise for the singing of the national anthem.
Bayang magiliw, perlas ng silanganan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, buyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupit, di ka masisingil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong baka, may nilang ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kisap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nanginginig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pang may limang didilim. Lupa ng araw ng warangit pagsikta, buhay langit sa dilim mo. Aming ligaya na pag may mamapit, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Please remain standing for a minute of silent prayer and meditation. Thank you. The Secretary General is directed to call the roll of members.
Roll call of members, honorable representatives. Abad, Abaya, Abayon, Abillanosa, Abu, Abueg, Acharon, Acop, Acosta, Acosta Alba, Adjong, Advincula, Agrao, Agabao, Aglipay Villar, Albano, Alcala, Alejano, Almario, Almonte, Alonte, Alvarez Franz, Alvarez Mercedes, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante, Amatong, Andaya, Angara Castillo, Antonino, Antonio, Aquino Magsaysay, Aragones, Arbizon, Arcillas, Arenas, Atienza, Aumentado, Bagaw, Bagaching, Bagilat, Banal, Barbers, Barsaga, Batawil, Batocabe, Bautista Bandigan, Belaro, Belmonte Feliciano, Belmonte Christopher, Belmonte Ricardo, Benitez, Bernos, Bertiz, Biason, Billones, Biron, Bulilia, Bondok, Bordado, Bravo Anthony, Bravo Merabida, Brosas, Bulot Bigtang, Cagas, Calderon, Calixto Rubiano, Caminero, Campos, Canama, Cari, Casilaw, Castelo, Castro Franz, Castro Fredenil, Catamco, Cayetano, Celeste, Serafica, Cirilles, Chavez, Chipeco, Co, Coanco, Colliantes, Cortés, Cortuna, Cosalan, Crisólogo, Cuba, Cueva, Dalipe, Datol, Daza, De Jesus, De Venecia, De Vera, Defensor, Del Mar, Del Rosario, De Los Montalia, Dimaporo Dula, Dimaporo Khalid, Duabit, Durano, Di, Elago, Enverga, Erice, Erigel, Ermita Buhain, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Eusebio, Ibardone, Fariñas, Fernando, Ferrer Juliet, Ferrer Luis, Ferriol, Floirendo, Flores, Fortuno, Fentebella, Garbin, Garcia Gwendolyn, Garcia Jose, Garcia Albano, Garin Richard, Garin Sharon, Gasataya, Gatchalian, Heron, Guana Cristina, Go Mark, Gomez, Gonzaga, Gonzales Alexandria, Gonzales Aurelio Dong, Gonzales Fernando, Goriseta, Gullias, Hernandez, Herrera D, Hofer, Alusos, Javier, Ko, Konghun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lagman, Lanete, Laugan, Lasatin, Liachon, Lee, Lim Kaichong, Lobrigat, Lopez Benhur, Lopez Carlo, Lopez Manuel, Loyola, Macapagalaroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Manalo, Mangawang, Mangudodato Suarto, Mangudodato Sajid, Marcoleta, Marcos, Marino, Marquez, Martinez, Matugas, Miliana, Mending, Mendoza, Mercado, Mirasol, Montoro, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Carlo, Nolasco, Nunez Malinyaon, Waminal, Ocampo, Olivares, Ong Edwin, Ong Henry, Ortega Pablo, Ortega Vini, Pacquiao, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panganiban, Panotes, Papandayan, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Primicia Sagabas, Kimbo, Radasa, Ramiresato, Ramos, Relampagos, Revilla, Roapuno, Robes, Rocamora, Rodriguez Isidro, Rodriguez Maximo, Roman, Romero, Romualdez, Romualdo, Roque Hari, Roque Rogelio, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sahali, Salceda, Salimbangon, Salo, Salon, Sambar, Sandoval, Santos Recto, Sarmiento Cesar, Sarmiento Edgar, Sabillano, Sema, Xiao, Silverio, Singson, Swansig Estrelita, Swansig Horacio, Suarez, Si Alvarado, Tambunting, Tan Angelina, Tan Milagrosa, Tan Shirley, Tejada, Teves, Chanco, Ting, Tiño, Tolentino, Treñas, Tugna, Tupas, Turabi Nataman, Ti, Umali, Unabia, Ungab, Unico, Uy Juliet, Uy Rolando, Uy Bareta, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Velarde, Velasco, Velasco Catera, Veloso, Vergara, Villapuerte, Villanueva, Villarasa Suarez, Villarica, Villarin, Violago, Yap Artur, Yap Melesio, Yap Victor, Yu, Zamora Mar Carmen, Zamora Ronaldo, Sarate, Subiri. Mr. Speaker, the roll call shows that 221 members responded to the call.
With 221 members responded to the call, a quorum is declared. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move for the approval of Journal Number 26 dated September 19, 2017. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? Here's none. The motion is approved. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we now proceed with the reference of business and request that the Secretary General be directed to read the titles of the bills and resolutions on first reading, as well as communications and committee reports. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Any objection? Here's none. The Chair directed the Secretary General to read the bills and resolutions on first reading for referral to the appropriate committees.
Reference of business, bills on first reading, House Bill 6407, regulating transportation network services, Representative Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Transportation.
House Bill 6408, changing the name of the province of Southern Leyte to Leyte del Sur, Representative Mercado.
To the Committee on Local Government.
House Bill 6409, establishing the Philippine Permanent Mission to the International Maritime Organization, Representative Belaro.
To the Committee on Foreign Affairs.
House Bill 6410, requiring all higher education institutions to computerize and develop online databases. Representative Bilaro.
To the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill 6411, declaring the conferment of a doctorate degree as equivalent to an entry-level career executive service officer in the civil service. Representative Bilaro.
To the Committee on Civil Service and Professional Regulation.
House Bill 6412, promoting the cultivation, production, processing, marketing, and distribution of Kenap plant. Representative Bilaro.
To the Special Committee on Climate Change.
House Bill 6413, establishing a Philippine Space Development and Utilization Framework. Representative Bilaro.
To the Committee on Government Reorganization and the Committee on Science and Technology.
House Bill 6416, exempting from the income requirement the capital town of a province without a city. Representative Panotes.
To the Committee on Local Government.
House Bill 6415, granting 20% discount on transportation fare. Representative Panotes.
To the Committee on Transportation.
House Bill 6416, converting the Camarines Norte State College in Camarines Norte Province to be known as the Camarines Norte State University. Representative Panotes.
To the Committee on Higher and Technical Education.
House Bill 6417, separating, converting the high school department of the Santa Rosa Integrated School. Representative Villanueva.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
Resolutions. House Solution 1311, direct the Committee on Welfare of Children to inquire in the status and quality of implementation of laws providing for special protection of children. Representative Herrera D.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Solution 1312, authorizing the President of the Philippines to create a task force to revitalize the Philippine garlic industry. Representative Sabellano.
To the Committee on Agriculture and Food.
House Solution 1313, congratulating and commending Arthur Bukay. Representative Asambar.
To the Committee on Youth and Sports Development.
House Resolution 1314, direct the Committee on Agrarian Reform to investigate the agrarian dispute between farmers and JC Agri Development Inc., Representatives Casilaw, Zarate, De Jesus, and several others.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1315, direct the Committee on Agrarian Reform to inquire into the plight of agricultural workers, Representatives Casilaw, Zarate, and several others.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1316, direct the Committee on Aquaculture and Fisheries Resources to investigate the impact of the implementation of Republic Act Number 8550, Representatives Casilaw, Zarate, and several others.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1317, commending Ms. Michelle C. Barasina, Representative Sting, Bravo, Veloso, Cosalan, several others.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1318, denouncing and calling for an investigation into the development by the United States Armed Forces of a Gray Eagle drone in Mindanao, Representatives Tino, Castro, Zarate, and several others.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1319, direct the Committee on National Defense and Security to investigate the deployment of Gray Eagle unmanned aircraft systems, Representatives Brosas and De Jesus.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1320, calling the appropriate committee to investigate on the issues surrounding the reclaimed lands by the Republic Real Estate Corporation, Representative Suarez.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1321, congratulating and commending Sandy Asusano, Representative Sambar.
To the Committee on Youth and Sports Development.
House Resolution 1322, calling for an investigation on the death of Horacio Tomas Castillo III, Representative Castelo.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1323, condemning the killing of Lumad student Obilio by AU, Representatives Tino, Castro, and several others.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1324, during the Committee on Ways and Means, Trade and Industry, and other appropriate committees to inquire into the alleged violations of Hyundai Asia Resources Inc., Representative Lacson.
To the Committee on Rules.
Communications 38 Annual Report at the Sandigan Bayan for CY 2016.
To the Committee on Justice.
Annual Audit Report of the Partido State University.
To the Committee on Appropriations.
Annual Audit Report of Bicol University.
To the Committee on Appropriations.
Letter dated June 30 of Bato S. Ali Jr., Director for ARMM.
To the Committee on Appropriations.
Letter dated July 20, 2017 of Isabel B. Dasalia Aguito, Commissioner, COA.
To the Committee on Appropriations.
Letter dated July 24 of General Ricardo R. Visaya, Administrator, NIA.
To the Committee on Agrarian Reform.
Letter dated July 31 of Roland A. Ray, Regional Director, COA.
To the Committee on Appropriations.
Letter dated July 31 of Roland A. Ray, Regional Director, COA.
To the Committee on Appropriations.
Letter dated July 31 of Alan S. Bermeo, OIC Regional Director, DPWH.
To the Committee on Public Works and Highways.
Committee reports, report number 389, House Bill number 6425.
To the Committee on Rules.
Report number 390 and House Bill number 6426.
To the Committee on Rules. The Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, before we proceed, we'd like to acknowledge the guests in the gallery of the Honorable Franz Castro and Antonio Tino of ACT Teachers. They are the ACT Teachers Party List members, Gabriela Women's Party members, Bayan Muna Party List members, Anak Pawis Party List members, Kabataan Party List members, namely the Honorable Chua Tian Chang, Member of the Parliament for Batu and Vice President of Party Kedilan Rakyat. Correction, Mr. Speaker, they are all guests of the Honorable Antonio Tino, Franz Castro, the Honorable Emmy De Jesus, Arlene Rosas, Carlos Zarate, Ariel Casilao, and Sara Elago.
Guests of Makabayan Black, please rise. Welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader.
I'd also like to acknowledge the guests of the Honorable Kaka Bagao from the organization, leaders and members of the various LGBTQIA organizations in the gallery today, including Lagablab Network, Babaylanes Inc., Society of Transsexual Women of the Philippines, or STRAP, PUP Kasarin Rianlan, TLF Share Collective Inc., UP Babaylan, Love, LFR, LAM, Loud, Galang, Outright International, Metro Manila Pride, UP Alianza, Pantay, Rainbow Rights Philippines, and ASEAN SOGIE Caucus. Mr. Speaker.
Guests of Honorable Representatives Kakabagao, please rise. Welcome to the House of Representatives.
Also in the gallery are guests of the Honorable Greg Gasataya. They are members of the local government of the city of Bacolod. Mr. Speaker.
Guests of Representative Honorable Greg Gasataya, please rise. Welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader.
And finally, Mr. Speaker, the guests of the Honorable Jorge Almonte of the 1st District of Misamis Occidental, the Honorable Samuel Edusma, the 3rd Municipal Councilor, and of the Municipality of Tudela, Misamis Occidental, and the staff from the Office of the Sangguniang Panlalawigan, Province of Misamis Occidental. Mr. Speaker.
Guests of Honorable Representative Almonte, please rise. Welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, under the calendar of unfinished business, I move that we resume consideration of House Bill number 5745 from the Committee Report 262, submitted by the Committee on Agriculture and Food. And for this purpose, may I ask that the Secretary General be directed to read the title of the bill.
The Secretary General is hereby directed to read the title of the Bill 5745 under Committee Report 262.
House Bill number 5745, an act establishing the Coconut Farmers and Industry Development Trust Fund and providing for its management and utilization.
Mr. Speaker, the parliamentary status of this bill is we are in the period of amendments. I move to recognize the sponsor, the Representative Panganiban, as chairperson of Agriculture and Food. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Objection. The chairman is recognized, Congressman Panganiban.
Mr. Speaker, the sponsor is now ready to discuss the proposed amendment to House Bill 5745, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize Deputy Speaker Sharon Garin for her interpellation. So move.
Congresswoman Garin is recognized. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Your Honor, with the permission of the Chair, Representative Panganiban, I would like to introduce some amendments to the current bill on Bill number 5745. In Section 2 on Declaration of Policy from lines 8 to 14 on page 1 and lines 1 to 2 on page 2, delete the subject provision and in lieu thereof adopt the Declaration of Policy provided for, which will read as follows. It is hereby declared the policy of the state to consolidate the benefits due to coconut farmers, especially the poor and marginalized, under various statutes and the Cocoa Levy Fund, and to expedite the delivery thereof to attain a balanced, equitable, integrated, and sustainable growth and development of the coconut industry.
Mr. Speaker, the sponsor accepts the proposed amendment of the distinguished Representative Sharon Garin, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I also move for the, in Section 3, definition of terms, line 3 on page 3, add the following after owner and cultivator, who shall be entitled to direct benefits for being disadvantaged and marginalized. Section 3F, item I, shall now read as follows. Tills the land, the owner cultivator, who shall be entitled to direct benefits for being disadvantaged and marginalized.
Mr. Speaker, the sponsor accepts the proposed amendment of the distinguished Representative Sharon Garin, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Sponsor. And in Section 4, on audit and inventory of coconut levy assets, in line 29 of page 4, after commission and audit, delete the conjunction and then insert a comma, then on the same line after Office of the President, add the following, the Senate of the Philippines and the House of Representatives. Section 4, Audit and Inventory of Coconut Levy Assets. The first paragraph shall now read as, upon the effectivity of this act, the PCGG, created under the Executive Order Number 1, Series of 1986, shall conduct a complete accounting and inventory of the coconut levy assets, as well as the investments, disbursements, and expenditures relating to the Coconut Levy Fund, and submit a certified report to the BTR, the Commission on Audit, the Office of the President, the Senate of the Philippines, and the House of Representatives.
Mr. Speaker, the sponsor accepts the proposed amendment of the distinguished Representative Sharon Garin, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Sponsor. In Section 9, on the management and utilization of the trust fund, in line 13, after the word that, delete 10 billion pesos, and in lieu thereof, put 20 billion pesos. On the same section, line 14, delete the word initial before the word trust, and which before the word shall. And on the same line, insert the phrase set aside and to be in between the words be known. In the same line, delete the word may after the word fund, and in lieu thereof, insert which shall. In line 15, delete the phrase within 2 years commencing from the approval of the plan by the President. In line 16, replace the word jumpstart with accelerate, and after the word industry, delete the comma and add the following. For the ultimate benefit of the coconut farmers and farm workers, provided further that at least 7.5 billion pesos of the Jumpstart Fund shall be used for the social protection programs as provided for in Section 21E of this Act. Section 9, Management and Utilization of the Trust Fund, item A, shall now read as, the trust principal shall be preserved and maintained at all times, and only the trust income may be used, provided that 20 billion pesos of the trust principal shall be set aside and be known as a Jumpstart Fund, which shall be used to accelerate the development of the industry for the ultimate benefit of the coconut farmers and farm workers. Provided further that at least 7.5 billion pesos of the Jumpstart Fund shall be used for the social protection programs as provided for in Section 21E of this Act.
Mr. Speaker, the sponsor accepts the amendment proposed by the distinguished Representative Garin.
Thank you, Mr. Sponsor. In Section 12, composition, include the Secretary of the Department of Agrarian Reform, or DAR, as government representative to the committee. The Coconut Farmers and Industry Development Trust Fund Committee shall now have 6 members from the government, namely DA, DOF, DTI, NEDA, DAR, and PCA. 9 representatives from the coconut farmer organizations, and 2 representatives from the coconut industry sector.
Mr. Speaker, the sponsor accepts the proposed amendment of the distinguished Representative Garin.
Thank you, Mr. Sponsor. On the same section, in line 28, after the word "the," delete 6 and "you" thereof place 9. In the initial deliberations, farmer representatives was only 6, but it was later agreed to increase farmers' representation from 6 to 9. As clearly stated in the composition of the Trust Fund Committee, however, in line 28, the necessary correction was not made. Thus, this is amendment. Mr. Sponsor.
Mr. Speaker, the sponsor accepts the proposed amendment of the distinguished Representative Garin.
Thank you, Mr. Sponsor. In Section 21, on preparation of the Coconut Farmers and Industry Development Plan, in line 4 on page 11, after the phrase "and 2 representatives from the coconut industry sector," add the phrase "who are members of the Coconut Farmers and Industry Development Trust Fund Committee." Section 21, preparation of the Coconut Farmers and Industry Development Plan, the first paragraph shall now read as: an ad hoc committee is hereby created to be composed of the secretaries of the Department of Agriculture, Department of Agrarian Reform, Department of Interior and Local Government, Department of Finance, Department of Public Works and Highways, Department of Science and Technology, Department of Social Welfare and Development, Department of Trade and Industry, National Anti-Poverty Commission, National Economic and Development Authority, Commission on Higher Education, 9 representatives from the farmers' groups, and 2 representatives from the coconut industry sector who are members of the Coconut Farmers and Industry Development Trust Fund Committee. The administrator of the PCA shall act as the ad hoc committee's chairperson. On the same section, page 11, line 23, the second item D shall now be item E. On the same section, page 11, line 23, after the word "benefit," insert the phrase "the poor and marginalized." On the same page 11, in line 26, put "free" before the word "medical" and add "care and services which may not be covered by PhilHealth." On the same page 11, in line 27, after the phrase "coconut farmers," delete the semicolon and add the following: "and farm workers." On the same page, page 11, in line 28, after the word "farmers," delete the semicolon and add the following: "and farm workers other than payment of tuition fees but inclusive of monthly stipend, allowance for books and instructional materials, and other allied components of a scholarship grant." Still on page 11, line 28, delete the conjunction "and" and after the phrase "livelihood programs," add the following: "and 4, opening of lending window in a government bank for the extension of concessionary loans of not more than 2% interest per annum exclusively to poor and marginalized coconut farmers and farm workers." The new item E shall now read as follows: establishment of social protection programs that directly benefit the poor and marginalized coconut farmers and farm workers. In case these social protection programs are not funded by an appropriations law or any other special law, or where funding is insufficient, the social protection programs will include: 1, social services such as life, free medical care and services which may not be covered by PhilHealth, and accident insurance coverage of the coconut farmers and farm workers. 2, scholarships for the benefit of the deserving descendants of the coconut farmers and farm workers other than payment of tuition fees, but inclusive of monthly stipend, allowance for books and instructional materials, and other allied components of a scholarship grant. Number 3, livelihood programs. And 4, opening a lending window in a government bank for the extension of concessionary loans of not more than 2% per annum exclusively to poor and marginalized coconut farmers and farm workers. Mr. Sponsor.
Mr. Speaker, the sponsor accepts the proposed amendment of the distinguished Garin.
And Mr. Sponsor, Mr. Speaker, in Section 22, on privatization of the coconut levy assets in line 32 on page 12, after the phrase privatization to the PMO, place a period and delete the subsequent provisions, which reads, unless the President, upon recommendation of the committee, designates another agency to preserve such coconut levy assets pending privatization. Section 22, lines 30 to 33 shall now read as, the committee shall submit its recommendation to the President for approval. The committee shall also arrange for the transfer of the coconut levy assets approved for privatization to the PMO. Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, the sponsor accepts the proposed amendment of the distinguished Representative Green.
And finally, the last one. In Section 28 on allowable investments, after line 5 on page 15, add another item which shall now be item D, which shall read as follows. Investment in profitable coconut-based enterprises, including integrated processing of coconut products and downstream products, consistent with one of the objectives of the Coconut Farmers and Industry Development Plan as provided for in Section 21, subject to the following conditions. 1. Preparation and validation of pertinent feasibility studies. 3. Investment ceiling to be fixed by the committee. And 3. The proceeds or income of the investment shall automatically accrue to the trust principal. Mr. Sponsor.
Mr. Speaker, the sponsor accepts the proposed amendment of distinguished Representative Sharon Green.
Thank you, Mr. Sponsor. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, there being no other committee amendments, I move that we close the period of committee amendments. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker,
Will we, Majority Leader, we have,
meron.
Motion to suspend.
session suspended. Session resumed.
Mr. Speaker, I move to withdraw my motion to terminate the period of committee amendments.
No objection.
So move.
Motion is carried.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Tonyo Tino for his amendments. Correction. I move to recognize the Honorable Arlene Rosas for her amendments.
Yes, before we recognize Congresswoman Brosas, the chair would like to ask the Majority Leader, how do we proceed? Do we approve all the accepted amendments after all the interpellators, or do we approve it after every proponent? After every proponent?
Mr. Speaker, we will move to approve after every proponent.
After all the proponents have...
After each one makes their amendments.
After
Mr.
each
Speaker?
one. So can I now have a motion for the approval of the accepted amendments of
We will
Congresswoman
move,
Garin?
as they make their amendments, we will consider them. Mr. Speaker, I move that we accept the amendments of the Honorable Garin. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, there's a motion for the approval of the accepted amendments of Congresswoman Garin. No objection. The motion is carried. Please proceed. Congresswoman Brosas.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a proposed amendments on the House Bill 5745, the Coconut Farmers and Industry Development Fund. First, on Section 1, for the short title, this act shall be known as the Coconut Levy Fund for Farmers and Industry Development Act.
Mr. Speaker, with due respect to the proponent, the sponsor rejects the proposed amendment, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, second proposed amendment for the declaration of policy on Section 2, it is hereby declared the policy of the state to recognize that the Coconut Levy Fund was exacted from poor and powerless coconut farmers during the martial law period and in pursuit of social justice as well as balanced, equitable, integrated, and sustainable growth and development of the coconut industry.
Mr. Speaker, again, with due respect to the proponent, the sponsor rejects the proposed amendment.
On Section 6, hereby created a perpetual and compensation fund to be known as the Coconut Farmers and Industry Development Fund.
Mr. Speaker, again, with due respect to the proponent, the sponsor cannot accept the proposed amendment.
In Section 9, initial trust principal, which shall be known as the compensation fund, may be used within 2 years.
Mr. Speaker, again, with due respect to the proponent, the sponsor rejects the proposed amendment.
Mr. Speaker, in Section 12, for the composition, we are proposing a small coconut farmers council is hereby created, and its 9 regular members composed of 7 representatives from the genuine small coconut farmer sector, and at least 2 which shall come from the coconut women farmer sector, and 2 representatives from non-government organizations involved in rural development advocacy and in legal assistance service to coconut farmers, who shall have the same rights as the 9 regular members, with an exception to the selection of the chairperson of the council. The members of the Small Coconut Farmers Council shall serve as farmer representatives to the Coconut Farmers and Industry Development Trust Fund Committee. The 7 and 2 women representatives from the genuine small coconut farmers and 2 from the non-government organizations respectively shall be selected from among the nominees to be drafted by genuine small coconut farmers organization in a National General Assembly. For this purpose, the Philippine Coconut Authority shall facilitate the holding of a provincial and regional assembly of small coconut farmers organizations within 3 months after the effectivity of this act. The Small Coconut Farmers Organization at the provincial and regional levels shall nominate their respective delegates to the National General Assembly. The expenses of the General Assembly shall be defrayed by the Philippine Coconut Authority from its current and available savings. The chairperson of the council shall be selected by the 9 regular, genuine small coconut farmer representatives from among themselves immediately after the National General Assembly.
Mr. Speaker, again, with due respect to the proponent, the sponsor rejects the proposed amendment.
Next is for Section 21, 9 representatives from the Small Coconut Farmers Councils and 2 representatives from the coconut industry sector.
Mr. Speaker, the sponsor cannot accept the proposed amendment.
The ad hoc committee shall be known as the Coconut Farmers and Industry Development Plan, as recommendation to the Coconut Farmers and Industry Development Trust Fund Committee.
Mr. Speaker, again, with due respect to the proponent, the sponsor cannot accept the proposed amendment.
If the President has any objection, shall be deemed approved. Upon approval of the plan by the President, the ad hoc committee shall be disbanded.
Mr. Speaker, again, with due respect to the proponent, the sponsor rejects the proposed amendment.
In Chapter 6, the proposed amendment, Mr. Speaker, is the revitalization of the coconut levy assets. On Section 22, revitalization of the coconut levy assets, assets that shall be revitalized and or retained or, as the case allows, may be disposed.
Mr. Speaker, the sponsor cannot accept the proposed amendment.
Mr. Speaker, there's another line pa. The committee shall submit its recommendation to the President for approval. Delete the sentence on privatization to the PMO.
Again, Mr. Speaker, with due respect to the proponent, the sponsor could not accept the proposed amendment.
Delete Section 23, additional mandate of the Privatization and Management Office, PMO.
Mr. Speaker, the sponsor rejects the proposed amendment.
Delete Section 24, powers of the PMO.
Mr. Speaker, again, with due respect to the proponent, the sponsor rejects the proposed amendment.
And last, delete all sentence and sections involving the PMO.
Mr. Speaker, with due respect to the proponent, the sponsor rejects the proposed amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We proposed, those are the proposed amendments for the record. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Franz Castro of ACT Teachers for her individual amendment. So move. Mr. Speaker, I withdraw my motion. Mr. Speaker, with no other members with individual amendments, I move that we close the period of individual amendment. So move.
No objection. Motion is carried. The period of amendment is hereby closed.
Mr. Speaker, can the sponsor make a manifestation, Mr. Speaker?
Majority Leader?
We have no objection, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, with leave of the Speaker, the sponsor would like to include Congressman Edsel Lagman and Congressman Jesolito Manalo as the be made co-authors of House Bill 5745, Mr. Speaker.
Your request is noted. Majority Leader?
Mr. Speaker, we move now to affirm the rejection of the sponsor by the of the amendments by the Honorable Brosas. So we move to divide the House, that those in favor of the amendment shall say aye, and those opposed to the amendment which sustains the sponsor's position say nay. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. Those in favor of the rejection, say aye.
Of the amendment.
I thought you wanted a votation. Sorry, there's a motion. Please restate the motion.
Mr. Speaker, our motion is a positive motion, no? That voting be held to sustain the amendments of the Honorable Brosas. All those in favor of the amendments of the Honorable Brosas shall say aye, and those that wish to sustain the position of the sponsor in rejecting the amendment shall say
So
nay.
the motion is for calling a votation. Am I correct? Yes, there's a motion for votation. No objection. The motion is carried. Majority Leader? All those in favor, say aye. All those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
The nays have it. The proposed amendments are hereby lost.
Once again, Mr. Speaker, I move to close the period of individual amendments. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, there's a motion to close the period of amendments. No objection. The motion is carried. Majority Leader?
With the motion, with the period of amendments being closed, Mr. Speaker, I move that we close the period of amendments, Mr. Speaker. So move, Mr. Speaker.
There's a motion to close the period of amendments. No objection. The motion is carried.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we vote on second reading House Bill number 262 as amended. So move, Mr. Speaker.
So we now move to votation of House Bill 5745. Those who are in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Not counted from the gallery. So the ayes have it. House Bill 5745 is hereby approved.
Mr. Speaker, before we go on, we'd like to acknowledge the guests of the Honorable Henry Omenal and the Honorable Sabiniano Canama and the Honorable Anthony Bravo, who are with us in the gallery today. They are the supervisors and principals of Department of Education of Tangub City Division, Misamis Occidental Region 10, Ms. Hubay, Ms. Penonal, Ms. Mandawe, Ms. Gaboy Boy, Ms. Enerio, Ms. Decina, Ms. Mosiquera, Mr. Huertas, Mr. Omego, Mr. Barbon or Ms. Marbon, Livio, Ms. Malabosa, Ms. Legaspi, Ms. Gumiter, Ms. Porio, Mr. Alduhesa, Ms. Penonal, Mr. Vince, and Ms. Regidor.
Your presence is acknowledged, and we appreciate that you have come well dressed for the occasion. Welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader?
Mr. Speaker, I move that we now consider the for approval on third reading, House Bill number 4982. And we'd like to request the Secretary General to read the title of the measure and thereafter call the roll of members for nominal voting. So move, Mr. Speaker, Your
No
Honor.
objection. Motion is carried. Secretary General is directed to read the title of the bill and proceed to the roll call voting.
House Bill number 4982, an act prohibiting discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation, on gender identity or expression, SOGIE, and providing penalties therefore. Roll call of members for consideration of House Bill 4982. Abad, Abaya, Abayon, Abilianosa, Abo, Abweg, Acharon, Acop, Acosta, Acosta Alba, Adjong, Adbincula, Agaraw, Agabao, Agdipay Villar, Albano, Alcala, Alejano, Almario, Almonte, Alonte, Alvarez Franz, Alvarez Mercedes, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante, Amatong, Andaya, Angara Castillo, Antonino, Antonio, Aquino Magsaysay, Aragones, Arbison, Arcillas, Arenas, Atienza, Aumentado, Bag-aw.
Mr. Speaker, I vote yes, and I reserve my right to explain my vote later.
Yes, daw, yes.
Bagatsing,
Mr.
Bagilat.
Speaker, in behalf of the 5th District of Manila, malugod naming sinusuportahan ang SOGIE Equality Bill. So we vote yes.
Bagilat, Banal, Barbers, Barzaga, Batawil, Batucabe, Bautista Bandigan, Belaro, Belmonte Feliciano, Belmonte Jose Christopher, Belmonte Ricardo, Benitez, Bernos, Bertiz, Biason, Billones, Biron, Bolilla, Bondok, Bordado, Bravo, Anthony, Bravo Maria Vida, Brosas.
Mr. Speaker, my vote is yes, and I would like to explain my vote later.
Bulot Begtang, Cagas, Calderon, Calixto Rubiano, Caminero, Campus, Canama, Cari, Casilaw, Castelo, Castro Franz, Castro Predenil, Catamco, Caetano, Celeste, Sirapica, Ceriles, Chavez, Chepeco, Co, Cuanco, Culiantes, Cortés, Cortuna, Cusalan, Crisólogo, Cua, Cuaresma, Cueva, Dalipe, Datol, Daza, De Jesus, De Venecia.
Mr. Speaker, I vote yes, and I reserve my right to explain my vote later.
De Venecia.
Mr. Speaker, with pride we vote yes to the SOGIE Equality Bill.
De Vera, De Penzor, Del Mar, Del Rosario, De Loso Montalia, Di Maporo Abdullah, Di Maporo Muhammad Khalid, Duabit, Durano, Di Ilago, Inverga, Erice, Irigel, Ermita Buhayin, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Eusebio, Ibardone, Fariñas, Fernando, Ferrer Juliet Marie, Ferrer Luis, Periol, Floyrendo, Flores, Fortuno, Puentebella, Garbin, Garcia Gwendolyn, Garcia Jose Enrique, Garcia Albano, Garin Oscar, Garin Sharon.
Mr. Speaker, these representations vote a resounding yes to HB number 4982. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Gasataya, Gatsalyan, Heron, Go Ana Cristina, Go Mark, Gomez, Gonzaga, Gonzales Alexandria, Gonzales Aurelio Dong, Gonzales Fernando, Goroseta, Gullias, Hernandez, Herrera D.
Mr. Speaker, para sa pantay-pantay na karapatan para sa lahat, bagong henerasyon votes yes to the SOGIE bill.
Hofer, Haloshos, Javier, Ko, Kunghun, Labad-Labad, Lakson, Lagman, Lanete, Laugan, Lasatin, Lietjon, Lee, Lim Kai Chong, Lobrigat, Lopez Benhur, Lopez Carlo, Lopez Manuel Luis, Loyola, Macapagal Arroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Manalo, Mangawang, Mangudadato Suharto, Mangudadato Sajid, Marcoleta, Marcos, Mariño, Marquez, Martinez, Matugas, Meliana, Mending, Mendoza, Mercado, Mirasol, Montoro, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles Jericho Jonas, Nograles Carlo Alexi, Nolasco, Núñez Malanyaon, Waminal, Ocampo, Olivares, Ong Edwin, Ong Henry, Ortega Pablo, Ortega Binenola, Pacquiao, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panganiban, Panotes, Papandayan, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Primicia Sagabas, Kimbo, Radasa, Ramirez Sato, Ramos, Relampagos, Revilla, Ruapuno.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the people of the 1st District of Antipolo, I vote a resounding yes for SOGIE equality.
Robes, Rocamora.
Mr. Speaker, I vote yes, but I would like to reserve an explanation for my vote later.
Rodriguez Isidro, Rodriguez Maximo, Roman.
Mr. Speaker, sa ngalan po ng mga taga-unang distrito ng Bataan at sa ngalan din po ng aking mga kapatid sa LGBT community, maraming salamat at yes.
Romero, Romualdez, Romualdo, Roque Hare, Roque Rogelio Nil, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sahali, Salceda, Salimbangon, Salo, Salon, Zambar, Sandoval, Santos Recto, Sarmiento Cesar, Sarmiento Edgar Mary, Sabellano, Sema, Siao, Silverio, Singson, Swansing Estrelleta, Swansing Horacio, Suarez, Si Alvarado, Tambunting, Tan Angelina, Tan Milagrosa, Tan Sherny, Tijada, Tebes, Chanco, Ting, Tinio.
Mr. Speaker, I vote yes.
Tolentino, Treñas, Tugna, Tupas, Turabinataman, T, Umali, Unabia, Ungab, Unico, Uy Juliet, Oy Rolando, Oy Barreta, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Bilarde, Velasco, Velasco Catera, Viloso, Vergara, Villanueva, Villarasa Suarez, Villarica, Villarin,
Mr. Speaker, Akbayan being a principal sponsor, author of the bill since 2004, we vote a resounding yes to House Bill 4982. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Biulago, Yap Artur, Yap Milesio, Yap Victor, Yu, Zamora Maria Carmen, Zamora Ronaldo, Zarate.
Mr. Speaker,
Subiri.
I vote yes and I
Sarate.
reserve my right to explain my vote.
Zarate Subiri.
Mr. Speaker, I vote a double yes from the 3rd District of Bukidnon. Dalawang yes po, dalawang kamay.
Second call, consideration House Bill number 4982. Abad, Abaya, Abayon, Adjong, Agaraw, Alcala, Amante, Antonino, Arbison, Aumentado,
Mr.
Bernos,
Mr.
Biron,
Speaker.
Calix Rubiano, Campos, Canama, Casilaw, Serapica, Colliantes, Pusalan, Dasa, Duavit, Durano, D, Ilago, Enverga, Estrella, Periol, Floirendo, Flores, Fentebella, Garbin, Garcia Albano, Heron, Goriseta, Javier, Lasatin, Lopez Carlo, Macapagal-Arroyo, Madrona, Malapitan, Mangudadato Suharto, Mangudadato Sajid, Matugas, Meliana, Mendoza, Ong Henry, Pichay, Plaza, Romero, Roque Roelio, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sahali, Sema, si Alvarado.
Mr. Speaker, sa sexual discrimination po ay lumalaban ang buong lalawigan ng Bulacan. Kami po ay bumoboto ng yes.
Tan Sherney, Tejada, Turabi Nataman, T, Uy Juliet, Uy Barreta, Vargas Alfonso, Villapuerte, Zamora Mar Carmen.
With 197 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, and 0 abstention, House Bill 4982 is hereby approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider for approval on third reading House Bill. Mr. Speaker, there are others of our colleagues who wish to explain their vote.
Yes. Can we proceed with the first one, Congresswoman Brosas, please?
Sir,
Bag-aw.
Mr. Speaker. Ayan. Ginoong Speaker, tumitindig po ako ngayon upang irehistro ang aking boto para sa House Bill 4982, ang SOGIE Equality Bill. 18 taon na po ang nakaraan mula nang magsimula ang laban para sa pagkakapantay-pantay sa pamamagitan ng panukalang batas na ito. Ngayon, nais ko pong bigyang pugay ang mga nanguna noon sa kampanya para sa Anti-Discrimination Bill. Sina Congresswoman Eta Rosales, Congressman Mayong Aguja at Congresswoman Risa na ngayoy senator na mula sa Akbayan Party List. Sila po ang nagpanday ng ating landas upang umusad ang mahalagang batas na ito. Ikinararangal ko pong ipagpatuloy ang laban kasama ang equality champs ng Kongreso. Nais ko rin pong pasalamatan ang Committee on Women and Gender Equality para sa patuloy na pagbibigay ng halaga sa SOGIE Equality Bill. Kada Kongreso, mula nung ako'y naging kongresista. Sa pamumuno ni na Congresswoman Angel Amante Matba ng Agusan del Norte, Congresswoman Lilibel Ruth Villarica ng Bulacan, Congresswoman Emilyn Aglipay Villar ng Diwa Party List, at Congresswoman Sol Aragones ng Laguna. Parati nilang itinatakda bilang priority measure ang SOGIE Equality Bill sa kanilang komite. Gusto ko rin pong banggitin ang mga kasamahan ko mula pa noong 15th Congress. Si Congresswoman Dina Abad ng Batanes na nagsilbing guro sa mga proseso ng paggawa at pagsusulat ng batas, at sina Congresswoman Sharon Garin ng Ambis Owa Party List, Congresswoman Mercedes Alvarez ng Negros Occidental, Congressman Bolet Banal ng Quezon City, at Congressman Teddy Bagilat ng Ifugao. Salamat sa inyong masigasig na pagsasama-sama mga batchmates. Mula simula pa lamang ng laban sa 15th Congress ay sila na ang unang tumindig para sa pagkakapantay-pantay. Noong 16th Congress, lalo pa kaming dumagdag sa hanay namin sina Congresswoman City Jalia Turabin Hataman ng Anak Mindanao Party List, Congresswoman at ngayon Vice President Lenny Robredo ng Camarines Sur, Congresswoman Victoria Noel ng Anwaray Party List, Congressman Barry Gutierrez ng Akbayan Party List, at Congresswoman Malu Acosta Alba ng Bukidnon. Aktibo silang dumalo sa mga committee hearing noon at sabay-sabay po naming pinakinggan ang mga kwento tungkol sa diskriminasyon at sabay-sabay kaming nanindigan para labanan ito. Ngayong 17th Congress, mas lalong tumindi ang kampanya para sa panukalang ito dahil sa pagkakabuo ng grupong tinatawag na #EqualityChamps. Salamat sa inyong tapang at husay mula pa noong unang meeting natin at simula pa lang ng 17th Congress. Si Congresswoman Geraldine Roman ng Bataan, Congressman Tof de Venecia ng Pangasinan, Congressman Tom Villarin ng Akbayan Party List. Kayo ang nagsilbi bilang bagong mga mukha ng kampanyang ito. Kayo kasama ng higit sa kalahati ng mga kasapi ng Kamara. At ngayon lang po ito nangyari na pumirma bilang mga authors at co-authors ng panukalang batas na ito. Ang nagbigay ng bagong enerhiya para mas mapalakas pa ang laban natin. Ginoong Speaker at mga kasama, ang panukalang batas pong ito ay produkto ng isang mahabang kasaysayan kung saan hindi lamang ang mga mambabatas ang ating kasama. Aktibong nakilahok din ang mga mamamayan. Produkto ito ng masigasig na pangangampanya ng mga grupo kagaya ng Lagablab, UP Babaylan, Babaylanes, Galang, TLF Share, Ganda Pilipinas, Rainbow Rights, Outright International, Bantay, at marami pang iba kasama ng mga mag-aaral at kabataan, kababaihan at iba pang mga sektor. Kanina lang po, kung sumilip tayo sa Twitter, makikita po natin na matagal nang nasa top trending topic ng buong bansa ang #YesToEquality. Napakaraming Pilipino ang nag-tweet at nagpahayag ng suporta sa panukalang batas na ito. Hindi lang po ang mga LGBTQ+, kundi pati na rin ang mga straight allies.
Marami sa kanila ang naglahad ng mga karanasan ng diskriminasyon. Marami sa kanila ang matagal nang tumindig at sinabi ang kanilang sexual na orientasyon o gender identity. Lahat sila, kagaya ng marami sa atin dito ngayon, ay mga #equality champs. Ang laban po para sa pagkakapantay-pantay ay laban ng lahat. At sa laban pong ito, ang puhunan po natin ay pagmamahal sa ating kapwa at pag-asa para sa isang lipunang mas makatarungan, mas bukas, at mas pantay. Mr. Speaker, I vote yes to the SOGIE Equality Bill. Ngayong huling termino ko sa Kongreso, ang boto ko po ay isang matamis na oo para sa pag-ibig, sa dignidad at karapatang pantao. Marami pong salamat at mabuhay po tayong lahat.
Thank you very much,
Brosas.
Congresswoman Bagao. Congresswoman Brosas, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, this representation supports the passage of House Bill 4982, also known as the SOGIE Equality Act. Article 2, Section 14 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution ensures fundamental equality before the law of women and men. As a signatory of many international conventions on the recognition of human rights of every people, regardless of any situation, including sexual orientation, the state shall extend its effort to address the continuing discrimination on the LGBT community. Gabriela Women's Party recognizes the misconceptions on the LGBT causing individual and institutional practices that prohibit them from exercising their basic civil, socio-economic, and political rights. Discriminatory acts due to sexual orientation adds up to the burden of our Filipino LGBT, which is experiencing unemployment and limited access to social services, among others. The proposed measure is the assertion of the LGBT community, not for additional or special rights, but putting forward the recognition of the same rights enjoyed by all individuals. Muli po, sa loob at labas ng larangang ito, susuportahan at ipaglalaban ng Gabriela Women's Party List ang anti-discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation or gender identity. Pinatunayan na po ito ng kasaysayan. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much.
Jesus.
Mr. Speaker, ang pagkilala sa karapatan ng mga LGBT ay isa sa 10 prinsipyong daladala ng Gabriela Women's Party. Ito po ay nakatala sa aming mga kasulatan. Ang boto ko po ay isang konkretong pagpapahayag sa larangan ng Kongreso para itala ang paninindigan namin na kilalanin ang LGBT bilang positibong bahagi ng ating lipunan. Mahalagang diwa rin ng dala ng panukalang batas na ito ang pagbasag sa isang kultura na labis na naglalagay sa mga kababayan nating pinili ang kanilang kasarian, pero sila ay nakakaranas ng diskriminasyon. Ang isang kultura na discriminatory ang lais pong labanan ng panukalang ito. Ako po, sa ngalan ng aming partido, ay bumoboto ng yes sa panukalang ito.
Thank you.
Rocamora.
Mr. Speaker, as a co-author of the bill, of course, I vote with a resounding yes to the passage of this SOGIE Equality Bill for following reasons. It is unique in our Constitution that we, as a sovereign people, have promulgated the basic law of the land to be one under a regime of love and equality. I believe this bill seeks to uphold this principle in our democracy, that we love all our fellow Filipinos equally, regardless of their sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression. More importantly, as a former prosecutor, I've handled a number of what we now call the hate crimes. So I welcome the inclusion of the concept of hate crimes, as it is a huge step in ensuring that justice prevails. Too many have died simply because of who they are and who they love. We should never let such hate go unpunished. So again, I vote yes to gender equality, and I vote yes to love. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Congressman Rocamora.
Sarate.
Ginoong Speaker, inirehistro po ng Bayan Muna bilang co-author ng House Bill number 4982 ang malakas na pagsuporta rito. Sa kabila ng mga tagumpay sa pagkamit ng mga legal na karapatan para sa mga kapatid nating lesbians, gays, bisexuals, and transgenders or LGBT sa ibang bansa, marami pa ang kailangan nating gawin para sa pagkamit ng buong pagkakapantay-pantay dito mismo sa ating bayan. Patunay rito, Ginoong Speaker, ang malagim na pangyayari sa pagkapatay kay Jennifer Laude noong October 2014. Maalalang pinatay siya ng isang US Marine na si Joseph Scott Pemberton habang nakadaong sila sa Subic Bay Freeport noong October 2014. Ang pagkamatay ni Jennifer ay bumukas sa usapan ukol sa Visiting Forces Agreement at ang paparami na hate crimes laban sa mga kapatid natin sa LGBT community. Isa pang kwento rito ay ang diskriminasyon itong bago lamang laban kay Bani Kadag na inalis sa kanyang trabaho sa isang malaking fast food chain dahil umano siya ay genderqueer. Araw-araw, Ginoong Speaker, nakakaranas ng iba't ibang forma ng diskriminasyon ang ating mga kapatid sa LGBT community. Habang ang mga karapatan ng bakla, lesbiana, transgender ay pinoprotektahan sa saligang batas sa mga katagang the state values the dignity of every human person and guarantees full respect for human rights, hindi nito sinisiguro na hindi magiging biktima ng diskriminasyon, pang-aapi, karahasan ang mga LGBT. Ginoong Speaker, lumagda rin ang ating bayan, ang Pilipinas, sa mga pandaigdigang kasunduan para sa pagkikilala sa karapatan tulad ng International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights at ang International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights na nag-uubliga sa pagkilala sa karapatan ng bawat tao laban sa diskriminasyon, ito man ay laban sa isang lahi, kasarian, relihiyon, politika at iba pa, kabilang na ang orientasyong sexual. Tulad ng mga iba pang marginalized sector sa ating lipunan, Ginoong Speaker, dapat ay pinoproteksyonan ng ating mga batas ang mga kapatid nating LGBT. Ngunit dahil na rin siguro sa kawalang kaalaman, bigotry, maling kuro-kuro at ang kapabayaan ng Estado, lalong-lalo na ang kapabayaan ng Estado, nananatiling mahirap para sa mga LGBT ang pantay-pantay na karapatan sa iba pang mga mamamayan. Ginoong Speaker, ang mga prejudicial practices and policies ay kalakhan hindi na isusulat at isinisiwalat, pero ito ay pinaiiral sa mga paaralan, sa mga opisina, sa mga institusyong publiko at pribado at marami pang iba. Kaya naman, mahigpit ang pangangailangan ng magkaroon ng batas na kinikilala ang karapatan ng mga LGBT at magpaparusa sa mga lalabag dito. Ginoong Speaker, ito ay hindi paggawad ng espesyal o karagdagang karapatan. Ito ay pagkikilala na mayroong pantay-pantay na karapatan ang mga LGBT tulad ng iba pang mga mamamayan. Kaya muli, inirerehistro ng kinatawang ito ng Bayan Muna ang botong yes sa House Bill number 4982. At gaya nga ng sinasabi ng ating mga kapatid sa LGBT community, makibeke, wag masyokot. Labanan ang diskriminasyon at pang-aapi. Maraming salamat, Ginoong Speaker.
Thank you very much, Congressman Zarate.
Cayetano.
Deputy Speaker Cayetano is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I apologize for the delay. We had to take a historic photo with the advocates. I'd just like to explain my vote, Mr. Speaker. just as I have fought for reproductive rights some 6.5 years ago, I also joined in this fight for anti-discrimination, and I'm very proud to be considered one of the co-authors. And I'd like to also express my thanks to all the advocates and the members of Congress who fought through a lot of difficulties in terms of explaining what this bill is all about. It takes a lot of wisdom, courage, and patience to be able to get a bill like this through, and actually congratulate and thank our colleagues, because 1 year is really not a bad time, not a bad timeline to get something passed in a Congress. So with that, I register my yes vote, and again, thank my colleagues for all the support. Thank you.
Thank you very much. With the affirmative vote of Deputy Speaker Cayetano, the Secretary General is directed to make the appropriate correction. The affirmative vote is, instead of 197, it should now be 198. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we take up for approval on third reading House Bill number 6331, and may we direct the Secretary General to read the title of the bill and thereafter call the roll for nominal voting. So move, Mr. Speaker.
No objection. The motion is carried. Secretary General is directed to read the title of the bill and proceed to roll call vote.
House Bill number 6331, an act providing for the reapportionment of the province of Southern Leyte into 2 legislative districts. Roll call of members for consideration of House Bill 6331. Abad, Abaya, Abayon, Avillanosa, Abu, Abueg, Acharon, Acop, Acosta, Acosta Alba, Adjong, Advincula, Agaraw, Agabao, Agdipay Villar, Albano, Alcala, Alejano, Almario, Almonte, Alonte, Alvarez France, Alvarez Mercedes, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante, Amatong, Andaya, Angara Castillo, Antonino, Antonio, Aquino Magsaysay, Aragones, Arbizon, Arcillas, Arenas, Atienza, Aumentado, Bagao, Bagatsing, Bagirat, Banal, Barbers, Barsaga, Batawil, Batocabe, Bautista Bandigan, Bilaro, Belmonte Feliciano, Belmonte Jose Christopher, Belmonte Ricardo, Benitez, Bernos, Bertiz, Biason, Billones, Veron, Bolilla, Bondok, Bordado, Bravo Anthony, Bravo Maria Vida, Brosas, Bulut Bectang, Cagas, Calderon, Calixto Rubiano, Caminero, Campos, Canama, Cari, Casilaw, Castelo, Castro Franz, Castro Predenil, Catamco, Caetano, Celeste, Serapica, Ceriles, Chavez, Chepeco, Cojuanco, Colliantes, Cortes, Cortuna, Cusalan, Crisologo, Cua, Quaresma, Cueva, Dalipe, Datol, Daza, De Jesus, De Venecia, De Vera, Defensor, Del Mar, De Rosario, De Los Montalia, Dimapor Abdullah, Dimapor Mohamed Khalid, Duabit, Durano, Di, Ilago, Inverga, Irice, Irigel, Ermita Buhayin, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Eusebio, Ibardone, Pariñas, Fernando, Ferrer Juliet Marie, Ferrer Luis John John, Periol, Floirendo, Flores, Portuno, Puentevella, Garcia, Garcia Gwendolen, Garcia Jose Enrique, Garcia Albano, Garin Oscar, Garin Sharon, Gasataya, Gatsalian, Heron, Go Ana Cristina, Go Mark, Gomez, Gonzaga, Gonzales Alexandria, Gonzales Aurelio Dong, Gonzales Fernando, Goreseta, Gulias, Hernandez, Herrera D, Hofer, Halosos, Javier, Co, Kunghun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lagman, Lanete, Lugan, Lasatin, Liachon, Lik, Lincaychon, Lobrigad, Lopez Benhur, Lopez Carlo, Lopez Manuel Luis, Loyola, Macapagal Arroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Manalo, Mangawang, mga Dadato Suharto, mga Dadato Sajid, Marcoleta, Marcos, Mariño, Marquez, Martinez, Matugas, Miliana, Mending, Mendoza, Mercado, Mirasol, Montoro, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Carlo, Alexi, Nolasco, Nunez Malanyaon, Uaminal, Ocampo, Olivares, Ong Edwin, Ong Henry, Ortega Pablo, Ortega Bininola, Pacquiao, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panganiban, Panotes, Papandayan, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Primicia Sagabas, Kimbo, Radasa, Ramirez Sato, Ramos, Relampagos, Revilla, Ruapuno, Robes, Rocamora, Rodriguez Isidro, Rodriguez Maximo, Roman, Romero, Romualdo, Roque Jare, Roque Rogelio, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sahali, Salceda, Salimbangon, Salo, Salon, Sambar, Sandoval, Santos Recto, Sarmiento Cesar, Sarmiento Edgar, Sabillano, Sema, Siao, Silverio, Singson, Sonsing Estrelleta, Sonsing Horacio, Suarez, si Alvarado, Tambunting, Tan Angelina, Tan Milagrosa, Tan Shernin, Tijada, Teves, Chanco, Ting, Tiño, Tolentino, Treñas, Tugna, Tupas, Torabinataman, Ti, Umali, Unabia, Ungab, Unico, Uy Juliet, Uy Rolando Clarex, Uy Bareta, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Bilarde, Velasco Catera, Biloso, Vergara, Villapuerte, Villanueva, Villaraza Suarez, Villarica, Villarin, Yulago, Yap Artur, Ayap Milesio, Yap Victor, Yu, Zamora Carmen, Zamora Ronaldo, Sarate, and Subiri.
With 200 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, and 0 abstentions, House Bill 6331 is hereby passed on third reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider for approval on third reading House Bill number 6294. May we request the Secretary General to read the title of the bill and thereafter call the roll for nominal voting. So move, Mr. Speaker.
No objection. The motion is carried. Secretary General is directed to read the title of the bill and proceed to roll call vote.
House Bill 6294, an act increasing the bed capacity of the Biliran Provincial Hospital in its proposed relocation site in Barangay Larazabal, Municipality of Nabal, Province of Biliran from 75 to 200 beds and appropriating funds therefore. Roll call of members for consideration of House Bill 6294. Abad, Abaya, Abayon, Abilianosa, Abo, Agweg, Atcharon, Akop, Acosta, Acosta Alba, Adjong, Advincula, Agaraw, Agabaw, Agdipay Villar, Albano, Alcala, Alejano, Almario, Almonte, Alonte, Alvarez France, Alvarez Mercedes, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante, Amatong, Andaya, Angara Castillo, Antonino, Antonio, Aquino Magsaysay, Aragones, Arbison, Arcillas, Arenas, Atienza, Aumentado, Bagaw, Bagatsing, Bagilat, Banal, Barbers, Bazaga, Batawil, Batocabe, Bautista Bandigan, Bilaro, Belmonte Feliciano, Belmonte Jose Christopher, Belmonte Ricardo, Benitez, Bernos, Bertiz, Biason, Billones, Biron, Bolilla, Bundok, Bordado, Bravo Anthony, Bravo Maria Vida, Brosas, Bulut Begtang, Cagas, Calderon, Calixto Rubiano, Caminero, Campus, Canama, Cari, Casilao, Castelo, Castro Franz, Castro Pedenil, Catamco, Caetano, Celeste, Serafica, Ceriles, Chavez, Chipeco, Cojuanco, Coliantes, Cortes, Cortuna, Cusalan, Crisólogo, Cua, Cuaresma, Cueva, Dalipe, Datul, Daza, De Jesus, de Venecia, de Vera, de Penzor, del Mar, del Rosario, de Loso Montalia, di Maporo Abdullah, di Maporo Muhammad Khalid, Duabit, Durano, T, Ilago, Inverga, Irise, Irigel, Ermita Buhain, Scudero, Espino, Estrella, Eusebio, Ibardone, Fariñas, Fernando, Ferrer Juliet, Marie, Ferrer Luis, Periol, Ployorendo, Flores, Fortuno, Puentevilla, Garbin, Garcia Gwendolyn, Garcia Jose Enrique, Garcia Albano, Garin Oscar, Garin Jaron, Gasataya, Gatsalian, Heron, Go Anak Cristina, Go Mark, Gomez, Gonzaga, Gonzales Alexandria, Gonzales Aurelio Dong, Gonzales Fernando, Goroseta, Gullias, Hernandez, Herrera D, Hofer, Halosos, Javier, Kungkun, Labad-Labad, Lakson, Lagman, Lanete, Laugan, Lasatin, Liacion, Lee Lingkay Chong, Lobrigat, Lopez Benhur, Lopez Carlo, Lopez Manuel Luis, Loyola, Macapagal Arroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Manalo, Mangawang, Mango Dodato Suharto, Mango Dodato Sajid, Marcoleta, Marcos, Mariño, Marquez, Martinez, Matugas, Miliana, Mending, Mendoza, Mercado, Mirasol, Montoro, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Carlo, Nolasco, Núñez Malañaon, Huaminal, Ocampo, Olivares, Ong Edwin, Ong Henry, Ortega Pablo, Ortega Bininola, Pacquiao, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panganiban, Panotes, Papandayan, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Princesas Agabas, Kimbo, Radasa, Ramirez Sato, Ramos, Rilampagos, Revilla, Ruapuno, Robes, Rocamora, Rodriguez Isidro, Rodriguez Maximo, Romero, Romualdez, Romualdo, Roque Hare, Roque Rogelio, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sahale, Salceda, Salimbangon, Salon, Sambar, Sandoval, Santos Recto, Sarmiento Cesar, Sarmiento Edgar Marie, Sabiliano, Sema, Siao, Silverio, Singson, Swansing Estrelleta, Swansing Horacio, Suarez, Si Alvarado, Tambunting, Tan Angelina, Tan Milagrosa, Tan Cherny, Tijada, Tebes, Chanco, Tiño, Tolentino, Treñas, Tugna, Tupas, Turabinataman, Umali, Reynaldo, Unabia, Ungab, Unico, Uy Juliet, Uy Rolando, Olvareta, Vargas Alfonso, Bilarde, Velasco Catera, Viloso, Vergara, Villapuerte, Villanueva, Villarasa Suarez, Villarica, Villarin, Yulago, Yap Artur, Yap Milesio, Yap Victor, Yu, Zamora Mari Carmen, Zamora Ronaldo, Zarate, Subiri.
Can we request for an oxygen tank? The Secretary General seems to be out of breath. With 201 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, and 0 abstentions, House Bill 6294 is approved on third reading.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider bills under the calendar of business for Thursday and Friday. And pursuant to our rules, allow me to put forth an omnibus motion for the consideration of House Bills number 6389 and 6391. 6389 under Committee Report number 377 and 6391 under Committee Report 378. So move, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
This motion, no objection, the motion is carried.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we consider the respective explanatory notes as a sponsorship of the said measure. So move.
No objection, the motion is carried.
Mr. Speaker, there being no member who wishes to interpolate on the said local bills, I move that we terminate the period of interpolation. So move, Mr. Speaker.
No objection, the motion is carried.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we open the period of amendments and approve the committee amendments, if any, as contained in the respective committee reports of the aforementioned bills. So move, Mr. Speaker.
No objections, the motion is carried.
Mr. Speaker, there being no individual amendments, I move that we terminate the period of amendments. So move, Mr. Speaker.
No objection, the motion is carried.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we vote on second reading bills number 6389 and 6391. So move, Mr. Speaker.
No objection, the motion is carried. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those that in favor say nay. The ayes have it. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, with leave of the House, the day being a Wednesday, I move that we open the privilege hour. So move, Mr. Speaker.
No objection, the motion is carried. Chair
Mr.
declares a privilege hour.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Arlene Rosas of the Gabriela Party List for her turn to avail of the privilege hour. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Congresswoman Brosas is recognized to avail of the privilege hour.
Yes,
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mga kapwa ko kinatawan, magandang hapon. Muling tumitindig ang kinatawang ito upang isatinig ang mga hinaing ng mga bata mula sa pambansang minorya. Mga batang vulnerable at higit pang ginawang vulnerable ng patong-patong na pasakit ng pagkakait ng batayang serbisyo at walang habas na militarisasyon ng kanilang mga komunidad. Noong Agosto 31, 2017, mahigit sa 2,500 lumads, Moro at iba pang sektor mula sa iba't ibang bahagi ng bansa ang nagsama-sama dito sa Metro Manila upang higit na maigiit ang kanilang karapatan sa sariling pagpapasya at makatarungang kapayapaan sa tinaguriang lakbayan ng pambansang Minorya. Paulit-ulit nang ipinapahayag ang dekada-dekada ng kawalan ng serbisyong kalusugan at edukasyon para sa pambansang Minorya, bagay na kanilang pinagsumikapang igpawan sa pagtatayo ng mga alternatibong paaralan sa kanilang mga komunidad. Subalit, sa loob ng nakaraang 5 taon, kinaharap ng kanilang komunidad ng mga paaralan at lalo't higit ng mga bata ang mga nakatutok na baril at bantang pagpapaulan ng mga bomba sa kanilang komunidad. Bagay na siyang naging dahilan ng kanilang paulit-ulit na paglikas. Ang lakbayan ng pambansang Minorya at ang pagpapatuloy ng pag-aaral ng mga batang lumad sa temporary schools, saan man sila itaboy ng militarisasyon, ang matapang na pagpapahayag ng pagtutol at paglaban sa represyong ginagawa sa kanila ng Estado. Mula July 2016 hanggang July 2017, naitala ng Save Our Schools Network ang mga sumusunod na kaso sa Mindanao. 28 na kaso ng pananakot, harassment, red tagging at surveillance, 17 na kaso ng military encampment sa mga paaralan at pampublikong lugar na gumagamit ng human shields, 7 na kaso ng EJK, extrajudicial killings, kasama ang pagpatay sa 19-year-old lumad student na si Obilio Bayao ng CAFGU. 5 cases of frustrated EJKs o extrajudicial killings at indiscriminate firing. 4 cases of destruction and divestment of school property. 4 cases of illegal or arbitrary arrest and detention. 1 kaso ng enforced disappearance. Pagpapasara ng paaralang lumad. Torture and forced evacuation. 89 schools and 2,623 students ang apektado sa mga pag-ataking ito. Higit pang nakagagalit na sa gitna ng kanilang pagigiit ng karapatan at lumalakas na panawagan, nagpapatuloy at tumitindi pa rin ang atake sa kanilang komunidad. Habang ang daan-daang mga kabataan mula sa mga paaralang lumad ay narito sa Maynila, nabalitaan nila ang pagpaslang kay Obilio Bayao, 19 na taong gulang, at estudyante sa ika-6 na baitang sa Salugpungan Tatano Igkanugon Learning Center. Ika-5 ng Setyembre ng pagbabarili ng 2 paramilitary si Obilio, habang siya ay pauwi mula sa kanilang sakahan. Siya ang ika-47 na lumad na pinaslang sa ilalim ng kasalukuyang administrasyon. This is not an isolated case. These are no isolated cases. The President even announced on his second SONA that he would order his military to bomb lumad schools. These are systemic harassments and violations targeting the lumad people, and the policy of the government is very clear. It is very evident that this administration does not treasure the cultural wealth of this nation and does not put any value on the right of our indigenous people to self-determination, to education, and to life. Hindi tumitigil ang mga atake sa ating mga kababayang lumad. Higit pa nga itong tumindi sa gitna ng pagpapatupad ng Oplan Kapayapaan at deklarasyon ng martial law sa Mindanao. Subalit hindi rin sila tumigil sa paglaban. ang mga kababayan natin ay nasa front lines ng paglaban sa pang-aabuso ng mga malalaking minahan at logging companies na sumasalaula sa kanilang lupa at kabuhayan. Malakas ang paglaban ng mga lumad at mga katutubo sa pagbigay ng DENR ng mga permit sa mga logging at mining companies. Isa sa tinututulan ay ang DH Consunji Incorporated, DMCI, na binigyan ng DENR ng logging permit sa 102,954 hektaryang lupa. Apektado ang kabuhayan, pamumuhay at mga komunidad ng mga dulungan manobo sa halos 8 municipalities. Hindi bago ang paglaban ng mga katutubo sa DMCI. Panahon pa ng diktaturyang Marcos, noong naging kalihim ng Department of Public Works, Transportation and Communications si David Consunji. He dominated the construction and logging operations in the country. DMCI did not act on this alone. The company employed government forces as security to maintain its economic interest at the expense of displacing lumad communities and terminate any form of opposition. The unabashed deployment of state forces to protect economic interests of few resulted to harassments and killings. Habol ng mga multinasyonal na mga kumpanya ang mahigit sa 500,000 hectares ng lupa para sa pagmimina at 700,000 hektarya ng lupa para sa mga plantasyon ng saging, pinya at iba pang mga agrikultural na produkto. Itong 1.2 million hektaryang lupa ay ancestral land ng mga lumad at iba't ibang minorya na inagaw at ninakaw sa kanila ng mga multinational corporations. The government, in its effort to protect the interests of these multinational companies, even deployed 56% of its armed forces together with its paramilitary groups like Alamara, Magahat, and Bagani in Mindanao to end outrage and opposition against the plunder of our natural resources. Ginoong Speaker, mga kapwa kinatawan, napakalaki ng ating papel na maaaring gampanan sa pagpigil sa pamamaslang. Tulad rin ng napakalaki ng ating naging kasalanan at pagpapalala ng kanilang kalagayan. Sa bulag na pag-aaproba sa batas militar sa kanilang lugar at kalaunay pagpapalala ng kanilang kalagayan. Ang deklarasyon ng martial law ay katumbas ng pagpitik sa gatilyo ng baril na nakatutok kay Obilio Bayaw sa mga batang lumad at sa kanilang komunidad. Bukas, ika-21 ng Setyembre, ay gugunitain ang deklarasyon ng batas militar ng diktador na si Marcos. Hindi natin kailangang tumanaw ng 4 na dekada para makita ang dahas, pang-aabuso sa kapangyarihang hatid nito. Huwag na nating balikan ang madilim na bahagi ng kasaysayan ng ating bansa. Huwag na rin nating hayaang madagdagan pa ang mga pangalan ng mga batang napaslang. Bitbitin natin ang kanilang mithiin para sa katarungan at kapayapaan bukas at sa darating pang mga araw. Naway ang lakas at tapang ng mga batang nagnanais ng isang mapayapang bansa na nakabase sa hustisya at pagkakapantay-pantay ang magtulak sa atin na ipaglaban ang karapatan ng bawat lumad sa edukasyon at sariling pagpapasya. Maraming salamat, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Congresswoman Brosas. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable... Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Arlene Rosas to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action. So move, Mr. Speaker.
No objection. The motion is carried. The speech is hereby directed to the Committee
Mr. Speaker, I
on Rules.
move that we recognize the Honorable Rosana Vergara of the 3rd District of Nueva Ecija for her turn to avail of the privileged hour. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Congresswoman Vergara is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Marlon Villanueva, Chester Paulo Abrasias, Chris Mendez, Menardo Clamucha, EJ Carl Intia, Noel Borja, Nor Silongon, Mark Andre Marcos, John Mark Dugan, Marvin Reglos, Gilo Servando, Horacio Castillo. These young men all died from acts of cruelty, from an initiation rite that supposedly strengthens, if not cements, the bond of brotherhood amongst its members. Fraternities, most common in law schools, date back to the 1920s in our country, but it crosses cultures and borders. But death from hazing is most common in our country in Asia. Despite the anti-hazing law of 1995, our society is unable to stop fraternities from conducting these dastardly acts. Horacio's death, while tragic, shocking, and inconceivable, will fall under the countless hazing deaths before him, and his name will resurface when another young man suffers the same fate. When media attention has waned, he will become like the other victims of hazing, a statistic. Is it our justice system that allows these crimes to happen? Is it the lack of parental guidance that young men fall prey to these rights? Is it our lax monitoring of outside school activities that provides the environment for these activities to flourish? Is it the macho attitude prevalent in Filipino society that tacitly accepts this primitive form of initiation as part of becoming a lawyer? What kind of thinking goes on in the minds of those doing the beating? Could they be thinking, we need to make men out of these boys, and sometimes we get carried away and are merely doing to them, these new recruits, what we ourselves went through and survived, and the death of a neophyte is just proof that he does not have what it takes to be a member of our frat. While these questions have no easy answers, they must be faced. Early today, I spoke to Mrs. Castillo, and she told me one of the reasons she felt confident about Achos joining Aegis Juris frat was that one of its officers formed part of the Academe of the UST, no less than the Dean of the Faculty of Civil Law, Dean Nilo Divina. This is the understanding of Acho when he attended the welcome rite and what his parents also knew. As parents, they and Horacio were aware of the victims of hazing despite the implementation of the 1995 anti-hazing law. They cautioned their son, but he assured them that hazing was not an activity this fraternity espoused. Horacio must have been surprised himself. A cursory reading of the Lenny Villa case, which became the basis of the anti-hazing law of 1995, I can only speculate and surmise that these rights include alcohol and drugs. For how can men who are being educated to be well-versed and practitioners of the law, protectors of the accused, victims of criminal acts, so callously beat and hurt a fellow human being to a pulp? Studies show that child abusers were victims of abuse as children. Upper frat men who beat and hurt neophyte law students must have been beaten severely too, and maybe almost died, but didn't. Hence, the desire to inflict pain just as they received pain. It is a vicious cycle and one that must end. Schools and universities must be accountable, especially in cases as such when the Dean of the Faculty of Civil Law is listed as a member of the fraternity. That they are perceived as active members of the frat gives students and parents a sense of assurance and comfort that in this fraternity, the rule of law is upheld, anti-hazing law is implemented. A congressional inquiry in aid of legislation must be conducted with emphasis on what role the university had in this welcome rite and in Horacio Castillo's death. The anti-hazing law, or RA 8049, is weak, and its stand on hazing is vague, to say the least. The law does not per se prohibit hazing or initiation rites. What it prohibits is the infliction of physical violence during initiation. The fraternity is required to notify the school authorities of their planned initiation rites, including the names of the applicants, with an undertaking that no physical violence will be inflicted on the neophytes. However, the law does not provide for penalties if the notice requirement is not complied with. The school head is required to assign 2 representatives to be present during the initiation rites to ensure that no physical violence will be inflicted on the neophyte. However, again, the law does not provide for penalties if this requirement is not complied with. In actual practice, I think the school head rarely assigns representatives since the fraternity does not comply with the notice requirement. These are just some of the weaknesses of the anti-hazing law which needs to be strengthened. The 1996 anti-hazing law must be reviewed and amended to make universities and colleges, especially the members of the academe who form part of the fraternity, accountable even in their absence during the fraternity events, especially when an initiation is conducted. We must not stay silent. The death of Horacio Castillo from actions that humiliated, degraded, abused, endangered, and eventually killed him, and by no less by individuals whom he would have considered lifelong friends or brads had he survived, is not acceptable. There is something very wrong with our society if this is the means future lawyers use to gauge the strength of their brotherhood. Aegis Juris's motto is, do no injustice, suffer no injustice. As legislators, we must come together to make sure Horacio Castillo's brutal murder is given justice. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Vergara to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action. So move, Mr. Speaker, Your Honor.
No objection. The motion is carried. Speech is referred to Committee on Rules.
Mr. Speaker, with no other member wishing to avail of the privileged hour.
No. Just for manifestation.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes.
I withdraw my
Majority
motion to refer the speech to the Committee on Rules and move to recognize the Honorable Rita Robes of San Jose del Monte, Bulacan, for her interpellation. So move, Mr. Speaker.
No objection. The motion is withdrawn.
Maraming salamat po. Mr. Chair, I'd like to address and make a manifestation to the august body with regards to the privileged speech of our dear colleague, Congresswoman Ria Vergara. Sa nakikita ko po ngayon ay talagang aking nababasa na hindi po kinakatakutan ang ating Republic Act ng 8049 dahil paulit-ulit po itong nangyayari. Minarapat ko lang po, Madam Chair, na susugan ang opinyon ng ating kasama na sana'y basahin natin ng maigi, pag-aralan ang batas na ito. Maliwanag po ang sinasabi po rin nila na ito daw po illegal. Ang pagpatay, ang hazing o initiation na sinasabi ay legal at talagang katanggap-tanggap sa ating society. Pero I'd like to make a manifestation, Madam Chair, that we move and make this as, sabihin na natin, a wake-up call to everybody. Mahirap magkaanak, mahirap bumuhay ng isang bata, at hindi nararapat na panuurin lamang ang mga ganitong mga initiations para lamang makapasok at maging daan para ikaw ay isang maging magaling na mambabatas. Dahil ang sinasabi nga po nila, pag ikaw ay miyembro ng isang sorority or fraternity, malakas ka. Hindi po sana ito maging basihan. That's all, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Deputy Speaker Pia Cayetano for her interpellation. So move.
Deputy Speaker Cayetano is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I won't make this long, but I just want to express my support. I thank our colleague, Congresswoman Vergara for bringing this up to the body. A lot of members, even I myself, are a member of a sorority. And I remember it was during I think 20 years ago when that law was passed, and yet we still have to stand here and lay witness to the sad reality of young people dying from hazing. I cast my support, and I hope as a body we can do more about this to prevent this from happening again. Thank you.
Thank you. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Vergara to the Committee on Rules for its appropriate action and the interpolations, Mr. Speaker. So move.
Objection. Motion carried. The speech and the interpellation is referred to the Committee on Rules. Majority
Mr.
Leader.
Speaker, with nobody else, no other member wishing to avail of the privilege hour, I move that we close the privilege hour. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Objection. The motion is carried.
Mr. Speaker, I move that all bills that have been approved for third reading be transmitted to the Senate. So move, Mr. Speaker.
No objection. The motion is carried.
Mr. Speaker, I move that we adjourn session until Monday, September 25. So move, Mr. Speaker. At 4 in the afternoon.
Monday,
So move,
September 25, 4 in the afternoon. Session adjourned.